I'm going to break down a full power session that we performed with my elite level football athletes. Let's check it out. All right, y'all, so let's get right into the training session. So as always, we start with a dynamic warm-up where the athletes are going through various ranges of motion, increasing the tissue temperature, getting them ready to be able to perform the movements that they're going to in this training session. Immediately following the dynamic warm-up, they're going to perform a series of movement prep drills. These are just how they sound. They're just going to prepare the athlete to be able to absorb and produce more force in our power session. So you can see a lot of lower limb movements, focusing on the foot and ankle, which makes contact with the ground. In addition to that, you're going to see us start to work up that chain into the hips to be able to prime and prep them for the more aggressive jumping. Next, we're going to get right into it. So first, we're going to focus on horizontal power. Now with this, we're going to start at the lowest level or the least neurologically demanding. You're going to see us warm up with some single leg broad jumps where they're landing with 2 feet. And then from there, we're going to advance this. They're going to go into an alternating bound off both legs, focusing on horizontal power. And then from that, we're going to go into a single leg double broad jump where we're connecting both of those jumps. And then finally, from the most advanced variation of the single leg horizontal, we're going to get into our single leg bounds. Now these are really great for speed development because they're producing horizontal force and getting the athlete to be able to produce that single leg cycling action that they perform in top speed. Now immediately following our horizontal, we take a quick break and then we get into our bilateral series. This is where we're really going to focus on our vertical force. So just like we did with single leg, we're going to start off with some easy movement or less aggressive, less intense, and we're going to build up to the most intense. So first and foremost, they're going to start with a simple hurdle hop where basically both feet are planted, hopping over the hurdle, focus on their landing mechanics. From here, I'm going to enhance that by going into a seated jump. And right from the seated hurdle jump, we're going to eliminate the stretch shortening cycle, eliminate the stretch reflex, and focus purely on rate of force development or how fast can they contract and be able to produce force, get over that hurdle and land. So the next drill we're going to get into is a progression where we're going to actually focus on the stretch reflex and stretch shortening cycle. And these are going to be with our rebound hurdle jumps. Now the athlete is going to simply step off a platform. The goal here is to be able to create minimal ground contact time or amortization phase and be able to generate as much energy to then get over that hurdle. So this is specifically focusing on those modalities during that transition phase. And finally, at the end of our jumping session, what we're going to do is we're going to reintegrate all those specific things that we were working and just let the guys loose and let them compete. So they're going to perform an approach hurdle jump. Now this is a max effort jump where really all I'm focused on is literally just get over the hurdle as high as you can. Once you put them in this setting, you'll see that the guys really start to compete. They want to climb up in height, and that's what really allows them to get a high effort and a high threshold for vertical force. Then flipping that, we go into our next break and then we get into our upper body power. Now for us to warm up into our upper body, I have them perform a series of rebound medicine ball throws. First one is just going to be a rebound chest pass where we're working through that full range of motion. And the one after that is going to be the soccer toss where we're working overhead, again, warming up the upper body. Now after this, we're going to get into our actual strength. We're going to get a little bit more specific and we're going to perform a contrast set. So we're going to perform an incline neutral grip press. So I want the elbows in tight and I want the palms facing each other. The athletes are going to drive and really focus on punching the weight up. Now we're going to go from a heavy resistance and then we're going to go into a more dynamic movement after that. They're going to go into a med ball broad toss where they're focused on moving a heavier load as fast as they possibly can. After they've moved that with a 30-pound med ball, they're then going to take a 10-pound med ball after that, right, which is descending or decreasing the resistance again, and they're going to focus on moving that med ball even faster with the same motion. We're performing about 4 to 5 working sets of this where we're focused more on quality of repetition over quantity. And then following that, they're going to perform a series of auxiliaries that balances out the upper body where we're still focused on a little bit more volume, but these are less intense, more single joint, isolated movements. And then finally, as always, we wrap up the training session with a core or trunk movement. For this particular one, they're going to go seated overhead med ball toss, really focused on a long trunk and being able to absorb and produce force with that med ball as they're pushing, really being able to attack the core statically. And that's it for the training session. As you guys can see, we kind of walk through a full power and then get into our upper body training session. I hope that helps. Hey, if you guys are interested in a full football program, off-season, 14-week, go ahead and check out the link down below, and I'll catch you guys next time. Start trying to think, if you're doing it in 20 jumps, try to think, let's get it in 15. That means I'm really pulling away from the turf, all right? I want you expanding here.